Hello NKA fans, my name is Larry Johnson. I will be your host tonight for the NKA Tonight show. Tonight I'll be talking about the up-and-coming 2021 NKA season. We'll be talking about topics like the redraft, when the season starts, the playoffs, the team's new rosters, retired players, and much more. So let's get right into it here. So, with the redraft here, there's 5 retired players, 2 of which have come from the New England Titans, and 3 who have come from the Los Angeles Legends, who are now the Devils, of course. So let's get right into that. So, from the Legends, Chris Borneman, Dilip Kusuma, and Colin Fewer have retired. They've made their retirement. They've announced it just a few days ago, so that's news to us. We made sure we had all the retired players announced it before the draft so we could know who's eligible for the draft, who could be picked, new teams, all that. So those 3 from the Legends, now the Devils, are retired. And now from the Titans, Brady Madden and Kyle Lubin have both retired. So that's minus 5 players from the league. Now, it is not a concern to us due to the fact that we have come up with new 4-man rosters. So all 4 teams have 4 players. So it'll all work out. We have the new rosters and everything. And the season now will start in the 2021 season. We'll start in March. The first day of the NKA season in 2021 will be March 6th, which will be a Saturday. So each team will play their team from their conference in week 1. And then the season will go 10 weeks. So each team will have 10 games, 4 games against their conference team, their other team in their conference, of course, and 3 games against the other 2 teams in the other conference. So with that, with it starting in March, the playoffs will start early June. So we'll have the playoff format ready. So the 1 seed will play the 4 in the first round, and the 2 will play the 3. So the winners of those obviously go to the finals, and they'll play it out. So the finals should only take about 2 to 3 weeks. So the 2021 season will be over in around June 25th, around that area, depending on how the finals go out, the playoffs, the season, everything. The All-Star game is going to be held. The date is to be determined, but it'll be held after the 10-game season, right before the playoffs. And we'll obviously elect who's going and all that. So for now, let's get into. We went over the retired players, the season starting in March, the playoffs, the All-Star game, all that. Now let's get into the 2021 redrafted NK rosters. So we're going to be starting it off with the New England Titans. So they keep Aiden Story as their captain, and they keep Nick McGuire in New England. Now, with the redraft, with their picks, they were able to pick up Alexander Biamonte and Nick Fair. 2 big additions, mainly a star in the league, Alexander Biamonte. That is a great pickup for the Titans. He's going to show some star power. I think with the Bulls, there's tons of stars around him. So even as good as he was, I feel he was underappreciated. With the new team, now he has less star power around him. He can show more of what he's about. He can get more action. And I think he's really just going to keep getting better as a player in this league. Aiden Story has now another great player with him. We'll see how Nick McGuire and Nick Fair develop. They're both pretty solid players. Not bad at all to have on the team. I like the pick in Nick Fair. I like keeping Nick McGuire. I like the direction this team is going. They're still yet to name an assistant captain. So we'll announce that if they do announce one. Most likely it will be McGuire due to being with the team. for the longest amount of time, of course. But that's not a concern as of now. So with the addition of Biamonte and Nick Fair, they lose Brady Madden and Kyle Lubin to retirement. Now, I honestly think these are two upgrades from the two players. So I think this team is only going to be better than last season. No reason to be worse. I think they got better players, more talent. I think these are more hard-working players they got here. And I think they'll be more dedicated to the game. And I think these are great moves by the Titans. Probably the best they could have drafted with their picks. So I like what they're doing there. I'm excited to see how it goes in the season. So, with the Titans being done, that'll bring us to the newly branded team, the LA Devils. Now, we used to know this team as the LA Legends, of course. Now, they've, in a way, folded or a big rebrand, and the whole team, whole roster, is gone, rebranded into the LA Devils. Now, this is their four-man roster coming off of the redraft. So, they have Brian Avanzato in as captain. Great player. That's a great captain. I mean, he's shown he's one of the best players in the league after his season in Seattle. So now, with him, that's a great piece to add. Now, you pick up Thomas Vogt from the Tampa Bay Seawolves, veteran player in the league. He's been here a while, knows what he's doing, but he is coming off a rough season. You're going to need a bounce back from him, I think. If you want to be successful, and I'm going to get into the other two players as well, I think Thomas Vogt needs to have a bounce back season. I think he needs to get more into the groove of things because with his performance in last season, I think that'll only hold the team back. So I hope to see many improvements from him. I do. Because that could really help out this team. Now, bringing in, you got Edward Laxton, NWBL player, teammate of Brian Avanzato on the Hollywood Bombers. So, the Bombers and the Devils, two LA teams now. So, Laxton and Avanzato both playing for two LA teams as teammates in both in two separate leagues. That's going to be exciting to see. I want to see how the chemistry correlates and moves on over to this league. I want to see how it works with them. Let's see if they can be as effective as they are in their league, the NWBL. I'm excited to see Laxton. I don't know how he's going to be. He's had one NKA game, regular season game against the Seattle Bulls. He was on the Seawolves for that game. He had okay hitting and okay fielding. It was just a decent performance. He did actually get a home run, which was solid. He looked promising. But I do think there is a lot to work on for his game. And I think the Devils are going to need that for their team here. So, with Laxton adding, I'm excited to see how he does. He can be, depending on how he performs, he can be a huge factor on this team. He can. And he can really help them out. Now, that gets me into the same similar topic as Vogt and Laxton. Ryan Falkman here. So, he's coming from the LA Legends. He's staying in LA. So, with the new branded team. Ryan Falkman, just like Thomas Vogt, is coming off a rough last season. He's had poor hitting stats and fielding, all around a poor season. So, just like Thomas Vogt, they're looking for a bounce back from him. It's a little risky with both of them, but at the time in the draft, they felt those are the best players they can pick up. So these are the players they got. Now, I want to see how Falkman can bounce back. I know he's been training. I've talked with him because last season, the rookie season, I've been in contact with him. He said he's very excited to join this team, and we'll see how it goes. My concerns about this team are Vogt and Falkman, depending on if they can bounce back, like I brought up. So, after their rough seasons, they have to bounce back for this team. They do. And Laxton needs to step up and be a base hit guy, basically at every at-bat. You know, you need a type of guy like that. Like guys like that are like Biamonte, Tim Fair, Kyle Borneman, a few guys like that. They usually always get on base. You know, it's not a home run every time. It's not a pop out every time. It's not a triple every time. But they usually at least get a single, get on base, get a run in. Great players like those are key in this league. They are. So we'll see how Laxton can step up and be number 2 hitter on this team. I do think he can be. I think he just needs more experience in this league. So I think this will be a building season for this team. I do think they'll get better as time goes on, but I do think they have a little bit of concerns throughout the roster. Now, getting into the reigning champs, Seattle Bulls. So, with the redraft, they lost 2 great players in Brian Almadado and Alexander Biamonte. Obviously, Biamonte to the Titans and Almadado to the Devils. So, that was obviously done. We need to balance out the league, do what's best for the league here. The Bulls knew they were going into this draft. They're only going to lose players. They're not going to get much better. It's only going to go down, but it's what's best. So, they keep Greenies in at captain. Keep Greenies here, and he gets the assistant captain. He's had that. They keep Todd Greenies. That's a huge move. Keeping him, protecting Greenies and Greenies. And now, Daniel Fusey, they obviously didn't protect him, but in the redraft, they were able to re-pick him up. So at their pick, they saw he was still available, and they know Danny. They know what he can do, and they know he's been with the team. So they pick him back up. So they keep together their main core, just losing Alvanzado and Biamonte. So obviously those are 2 big losses. But with such a well-rounded roster still, I do think this team will still be a top team in the league. No reason for them not to. I mean, they got some star power in the Greenies brothers. They got Greenius. Hopefully Fusey can get going. So we'll see. I do think this is still a top team in the league. No reason not to be. They've got a well-rounded roster, probably one of the best. So I do think they'll still be a top team. But losing Almanzado and Biamonte is big. But like I said, I do think they're still going to be very competitive. There's no reason not to be. So going into the season, we'll see if they can get back to the finals. Maybe try and go back-to-back. Back-to-back, of course. So because 2019 and 2020. So we'll see how they can do. I think they're still going to be a great team. No reason not to be. And now that'll bring us to our final team, the Tampa Bay Seawolves. Now, I am very excited for this team going into the 2021 season. So, during the redraft, they lose Thomas Vogt. He's a replaceable player, no doubt about it. He's been with the team, so it's sad to see him go, but they're going to lose him in the draft. They have to do what's best for the team here, obviously. Now, they were able to pick up Kyle Borneman and Tim Fair. I think these are 2 huge moves, really. You keep DeSimone and Medallia in town, and you add Borneman and Fair. I think this team could be a contender. I do. They've had their back-to-back final losses, of course. Their fans have been waiting for a team like this. Looking at a roster like this, they have some star power. They got Borneman. They got Tim Fair. DeSimone, solid players. Medallia. Medallia is looking for a bounce-back season, as like the guys like Falligman and Bo. I do think he's looking for a bounce-back season. He had a rough one last year. But they keep together DeSimone and Medallia, and they add Borneman Fair. I think those are 2 huge additions. I think it's great that DeSimone gets promoted to captain. I do think that's what's best for the team. I do think this team could be a contender. Could we see them coming in at, can they seed themselves to a top 2 spot? I do think they have a good shot. Seeding-wise, so for the playoffs, obviously you have the 1 playing the 4 and the 2 playing the 3. I think what they're looking to do here, obviously, is just get into the season and be anything but the 4 seed. Because you're not going to want to play the 1 seed, no matter who it is. So, going into this, I think they're aiming to get a top 2 seed. With this roster, I do think they have top 2 team talent, really. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but I do think this team is pretty legit. I do. I like the roster. I like the moves. I like the players. I like what the Sea Wolves did, and I'm excited to see this team in 2021. Like I said, the fans have been waiting for this. So they've got a few players. They've got a few pieces. I do think they can make a big playoff push this year. So that'll wrap it up for the 4 teams with their new redrafted rosters and all that. So we're going into the season starting March. We brought it before. The playoffs will be in June. We're very excited for this. I'm your host, Larry Johnson. As always, thank you for watching NKA Tonight. And we'll get right back into it as soon as possible. Me and Jeff Randall will be releasing our 10-game prediction schedule for each team. We'll be doing that as soon as we can. We're going to get on a phone call, of course. So that video should be up within a week. We'll, depending on the day we meet up, of course. So that will do it for the NKA Tonight with the new drafted rosters, the retired players, season coming up in March, and the playoffs coming up in June. That'll wrap it up for the NKA Tonight. Thank you for coming out, like I said before, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you, fans.